Hey guys, welcome to the Detail Elements podcast, sponsored by Liquid Elements. I'm your host, Levi Gates, and with me I have Mr. Sebastian Schäfer, the CEO of Liquid Elements, Mr. Liquid Elements himself. Sebastian, welcome.
Welcome. Happy to be here, Levi.
Yeah, this is, I want to thank everybody for joining us for our first episode. This is a kind of our welcome to this podcast. I know we've had a lot of people asking when we're going to start one, when we're going to do one. It's been kind of hard for Brian and I to get our schedules in sync, but it's nice to finally have Sebastian on here. So this is going to be kind of our intro podcast to the brand, so people can really deep dive. They've seen pieces, right? They saw the interview you did with Matt Mormon. They've seen the ones you and I have done on other for IDA, and they've seen other things that people have made or reviews of machines, of tools, of products. But I don't think anybody's really just sat down and asked questions about the company and where it started from and what this company is designed to be for detailers. And I know a lot of people see our pricing and think that it's very, very cheap, but it's designed to be that way so that at the end of the day, we put more money back in a detailer's pocket. That's the goal.
And this is what it's all about. So initially, it's like I guess we need from this particular point on, we need to start every episode of this podcast with one single question: why is this different?
Yeah.
Depending on each kind of product or aspect or company culture or pricing, no matter what, because exactly what you told is these are some questions which are mainly occurring, like, Sebastian, why are these items so cheaply priced? Are this made from some kind of crazy, insane, big manufacturer, or did you bought this cheaply from China? All the stuff from the cheapest source possible. But yeah, it comes down to efficiency, and this is what the company is all about as well. So yeah, basically we should, I guess, not even start every kind of podcast episode with this single question, but also this one: why is this different?
Yeah. So tell us the story. How did it start? I mean, most people think we just started, but the reality is the brand has been around for almost 25 years.
It is, yeah. In 2003, we started with the one question: how can we make something different? So you and I have been detailing cars for, the past 25 to 30 years. We've been in this industry, starting with just scraping things with our grandpa's claws. So yeah, because we didn't have any kind of microfiber towels,
Right.
there weren't sufficient machine polishers, and yeah, all this crappy stuff we needed to take. But step by step, there was an evolution. But I constantly kept revving my head with this question: how can we make something different? Because the things I see in front of me don't feel that they do the job properly, or at least they do this on a sufficient base price wise. So I remember my first rotary polisher I bought is a Festool RAP 150, and this thing was $550. And I was like, wow,
That's a lot back then.
that was a lot. So I used to rent polishers, mainly flex machines and DeWalt machines. I used to rent to do some proper machine polishing. Formerly, I used to do this by hand. Yeah, and it constantly raised these questions: how can we make something different to make something happen? And it was this time where Dodo Juice and all the other brands came up with this DAS6 polishers. Even it was the time of the Porter Cable, very commonly known in the US. And this is where it all started. So these were the machines priced beyond the $250 range, and I can be that honest, we bought these machines for $60 to $65, depending on the exchange rate of the currencies.
Right.
So as you see, there were people making 5x the revenue and what they bought these machines for. And we were just like, okay, let's make an honest calculation based on what we need. So usually the story is completely different, and this is where the company started, from the single idea of making something different out of their own need. Then on and on, this thing evolved. We bought machine polishers. We didn't make them on our own. We just bought them from a wholesaler. And then, contacts to China evolved, contacts to the US evolved, and we spread it ourselves or at least the story Europe-wide. We hit it more and more resellers, and Liquid Elements expanded to a real company, and it started like most of the other businesses out of my garage. It's basically just like that. And I remember back in 2015, we built the first real site, which you also know, which is in Avatar right now. That was our first real place. Before this, we moved 4 times to different locations. After a year, they all became too small. So in Avatar now we still have our liquid main plant, and we always try to optimize or expand things, but not on the cost side. So the main focus was always trying to keep costs low and make things as efficient as possible. Because as you told before, we want to keep at most possible money into the pocket of the detailers, which basically just means give them cheaper items with the best possible quality for this kind of price.
Right. Yeah. Because I think too many people come into this industry, and I saw this when I was detailing. I had a guy who used to come on a truck, and man, I had a boss who was like, we don't have money for that. You get the cheapest stuff. And I'd say that stuff doesn't work. I need something that has a little more power or something. He taught me, the guy on the truck taught me that there wasn't always, some products were able to work just as well for the same price point. It was never that a product needed to be more expensive to work better. That
exactly.
Sometimes it was dilution ratio. So, I was buying a soap that maybe was a 50-to-1 dilution ratio, but he had a soap that was the same cost for five gallons, but it would be 200-to-1 dilution ratio. And he would say, try this one because you can actually make it a little stronger and you can still be in that price point. And so that was really my first entrance into that. Oh, I don't need it to be really expensive. But when I saw companies coming into this market, even back in 2012, I saw that there was this push towards this boutique exclusivity where I need to make my can of wax that normally costs $25. I need it to be $60.
I guess remember this kind of glass container.
Yeah.
I don't remember the brand, but there was some kind of bird on it.
Swissvax did one, Swissvax did a Crystal Rock one. Exactly, that was expensive. That one like $1,500 for the
exactly.
1,500 for just some wax. But I remember this push to that, and even me, when I had my detail shop, I got a can of wax from a blender and found it was very similar to the other waxes that were going for $60, $75, and my can was $25, and I was using it on my cars that we were detailing. And it was that promise for us to go, well, if I'm going to sell this in my detail shop, I'm just going to make $5 off the can. So we'll just put it for $30, and it was okay for my customers, and that was the very first inkling that I had, where I was like, I don't need to get rich on this. I just need to make enough money to cover my costs and provide a little extra income for me that isn't needed. But too many companies in this market now try to go for as much revenue as they can to make as much and higher profits. And there's nothing wrong with making money. It's just, who are we making the money on, right? If it's a customer who wants to spend $1,500 on a can of wax, all right, cool. But if we're only selling that $1,500 can of wax to a detailer who's got to sell it to a customer, who's got to then put the labor to work on it, but the customer at the end of the day isn't going to care whether he put a $25 can of wax to a $1,500, he won't have the eyes to see the difference. Then that comes into play the question of, why is that product so expensive?
Exactly.
Really,
and this is, it's the same thing I experienced in the past. Like when we compare this to this, do you remember this? I guess it was McGuire's number 19, this blue can of wax. 25 to 30 bucks. That was a great one. So I just loved how it worked, the shine, how it lasted, but I didn't ever see the point of justifying this high prices that Swiss Wax was calling for. I understand their philosophy of how this company works, and I also know that they need these margins because it's like Ferrari does, exclusivity by price. But I don't know if we all need to buy Ferrari. So this is the main question where this comes down to. Do I have these 2 customers a year which are living in this kind of, I need the status symbol wax to wax my car, and after this I'm going to buy this part and I put it on my shelf somewhere so everybody can see that I have the 150K bucks wax on my car, but it's also gone after 3 months, it's not even outperforming the cheapest ceramic coating. So this is where things are not making sense anymore in my perspective. So I just experienced that I have a whole different perspective on things, like most of the people. Like you said, the main industry, or the majority of the industry functions like this. They try to seek for products which they can sell at a certain price. So it's like they reverse engineer their pricing. It's you look into the market and you see, oh, there's a market for waxes which are very expensive. So then you ask yourself, how can I make this product happen? And then you're making a product which maybe fits somehow into this and justifies it at least to be in this direction. But in the end, it doesn't make sense at all. So it's just about overhyped products because someone tells you that you need this. But in the end, when you're honest to yourself, you don't, as a detailer, you don't make more money out of this. The customer is not more happy or doesn't get a better result. So where's the sense of that? It's just about it's like you believe in something which isn't physically possible. And this is, as a physicist, I always ask myself, how do these people believe in things they cannot? It's like when I will explain black matter to someone, it's like, okay, they don't understand, but probably I could sell this to him. So it is, I can sell you a black hole. So maybe you can go there somewhere with some support of SpaceX, but I don't know. So this is something. I love to sell items or calculate items on a far simpler basis. Like, at first, we are not asking what we could probably sell. So we are just asking what people need. And then they just given us the ideas and we incorporate these into the products. So usual companies do it like they release a detailer, they release a soap, they release a bucket or a machine, whatever, just because they can. We just ask the customers what will be probably the most sufficient solution for the work you're probably doing there. And then they're just telling us, oh, I will need this kind of battery runtime. I will need this kind of size and weight maybe, and that kind of power. So then you can design a product around these needs. And then you ask the people, okay, polishers for $500 to $600. What would you pay for a polisher? When I ask you for $250, is this okay for you? So does this fit your needs? And then I can ask myself, can I build this kind of product on that price, and can I cover my costs? But this is a different approach. So it's coming from the starting point of just be transparent about this. I told you before about the DAS6 polisher, which every brand seeing this right now can agree with me. We bought for $60. So there's no complaints about it. But McGuire's used to sell this thing, I guess, for $280. So just make the basic math. You have the net buying price, then you have the additional shipping costs of, let's say it's $10 per machine. Then you have this landed cost for $70. Then you need to justify your organization costs, your forwarding, your team, the marketing. Let's pretend this is another 25 to 30. We say we are now landing at $100 to cover your costs. Then you want to make some profit. Let's say you want to have 10% in profit margin. So you add another $10. You are now at 110. Now you want to give a reseller a margin of, let's say, 30%. So you're now coming to 135 probably, and then you're adding tax to it. And then you're in Germany, it's always tax included. As in the States, I guess it's all net priced, but you probably land somewhere between 140 and 150, no matter if it's net or tax included. And
Correct.
guess what? 159, including tax, was our selling price for this particular item.
Yeah.
And this is basically just coming down to every product we got, how we calculate them. And this is also the main reason why prices changes sometimes. So when we can produce a product cheaper, we just change the price. But what most of the people think is, oh, they use cheaper raw materials or they have changed the supplier to a cheaper source. No, that's not the case. We just on a path of improving and being more efficient. And by that, even as a small company, we can just offer better prices than the most larger ones because they need to finance more overhead probably.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine, but why are you able to sell the same polisher for 2 times the price to a customer and not being a millionaire within 6 months? So
and that's the hardest part too, is you'll talk to somebody and they'll maybe they sell another brand machines, but even the what am I trying to say? The price for the distributor to sell, the reseller,
yeah,
the
reseller margin.
Yeah, that is still very low for those. So you still go, well, where is all that added into that? And what are those costs associated? And is it more than 10%, say, for us, where we're looking at a 10% profit on the manufacturer and all that? Are they doing 30, 40%? And then they're saying, here's our price for the tool, and we're only going to give you 30% because then it's going to be priced out of the market? Or is it like everything else? Are they're just not anticipating, or they're not trying to be as efficient as possible? They're not looking at their costs. They're not trying to bring them down. And they're like, well, it was this much and we did fix it and we did get it cheaper, but everybody pays it anyway. So let's just keep the number the same, or we'll just raise it up a little bit, right? A lot of people do that. And I've noticed that that's the overall comments in the world right now, is that the cost of everything is going up. There really isn't relief in sight. But are the vendors, grocery vendors, car vendors, I mean, shops, the family's out shopping today, are the prices of those going to come down? Are those retailers going to be honest and bring that down if they find savings, or are they just going to pocket those savings and keep
Probably
it just the way it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what I like the most about what we've been doing, and what the way the company is built is this: if there's a cheaper ability to make, to save us some money on the end, we want to return that savings to the end consumer at the same time, in the sense by creating the prices cheaper or lowering the cost of that, which I think is so admirable, especially in this day and age where it's not normal, right?
Imagine the most sold product on earth that everybody is commonly known: an iPhone.
Right.
So did an iPhone ever get cheaper? I don't think so.
No.
So I cannot imagine. I know hardware very well. So from my perspective, you have an iPhone 15, which is 95% of the same technology than the iPhone 16. Why is this thing $200 more expensive? I don't understand. So I don't want to offend the Apple people here right now, but it's just a nice example. You have lower labor cost, you expanded your company, you're making the highest EBITDA in the whole world, you are the most valuable brand in the world. So just a simple question: why can't you lower the prices to $850 instead of $1,500?
Yeah.
This is something I don't get. So this is, for me, this is not, it's a question of ethics or moral, that the customers brought you to this kind of point. Why do you constantly keep your products raising in price? Why isn't there some kind of just give something back? You know that everybody who buys an iPhone probably buys the next generation. So every 2 or 3 years, you have this kind of recurring, frequently income of your loyal members that trust in your brand. Somehow, in my perspective, there should be the time to give something back, to be like, okay, we made trillions in revenue, we made billions in EBITDA. We want to give something back. We just cut down the costs, or we made processes more efficient. So we let you, as the audience, as the main supporters, benefit from this.
Yeah, well, and when they built their facility, they went as green as possible to lower their utility costs too over time.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
like it's the same thing as if you were running a detail shop and you put solar panels and you started recycling or reclaiming or pulling water from, filtering your own water and getting it from rain catchers or whatever. But the goal is that you're trying to limit or lower your internal costs of doing business. And if you're making all those strides, why are you charging more?
It's this natural behavior. So
Yeah.
humans always try to be better the next day than they were before. So
Right.
I try to be more efficient next week than I were this one. So
Yeah.
why shouldn't this be projected onto your pricing or on your company culture or on how fast and good and which kind of quality you can deliver? So this is a story we just need to critically talk about, because I just see that there is many potential which some brands just leave on the ground. It's just lingering around, and we try now, especially with this kind of podcast, we just try to pick this up and be like, okay, we can explain you why. So we can just open up, give the honesty into this thing, and be like, just imagine yourself, like you said, all of the business, every detailer tries to be more efficient the next week or the next day. So company do as well, but companies save this for the investors, for, I don't know, their accountants or the CEOs or whatever they want to pay. What we want people to understand is that we try to be as honest and transparent on our costs as possible, like we did on this polisher example. And this is the same arguing or discussion I had with Matt Mormon in one of our videos, as he was asking me, Sebastian, this is a $200 polisher and it's darn fucking good. So why don't we sell it for 450? I was like, Matt, you need to understand the math, the equation behind that. So if you sell, pretend you sell a Rupus machine. You sell 50 Rupus machines a month. The Rupus machine, I don't have the prices on my mind in the US, but let's pretend $600. There are many people who cannot afford or are not willing to afford the $600 in pricing. So you just exclude these peoples as your customer audience, which I think is not fair. To me, it is possible to offer the same polisher for half the price. So there's no doubt about it. So everybody can argue with me about this. I know that these machines could be offered for $300. But you need to finance your overhead. So there are two things. Number one, you did not manage this as a manager to get rid of your costs, so you are too inefficient, which is okay because the company needs to eat as well. The second thing is, maybe you are not on the right path and you're not that honest. You could be, which is also okay because this is part of your marketing, because it's exclusivity by design or by price. But when you want to stay on the efficient side, which the market projects us or repulses back, like we are on the right path. And I was just telling Matt, imagine that when you have this 50 machines you're selling monthly, I promise you, you will sell 200 of our machines within the same time window, and it's not the same revenue you have because it's only 35% of the price, but you have the same result when you just put it down to what do you have as a business owner, because you sold more machines. And we can be proud of this, because I don't want to have one machine being faulty and then I have to care about one machine. I want to have 500 machines running in the market and only, let's say, 1.5% of faulty machines I need to care about. So this is just a strong towards the customer facing pro argument for it's not a cheap machine. It's a good quality machine at the most efficient price possible provided to you. And after this discussion, we had off cam as well. He was like, yeah, I understand this thing. So He's coming from a financial background, and within 15 minutes, he just got the point why we're doing the pricing as we do it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, once we, and Brian and I, when we reach out to distributors or something, they're always like, maybe they're a little concerned, but their number one request is, I need a polisher that is more accessible to the everyday detailer, because I'm having problems getting the machine into people's hands when they see that price point of what a machine normally costs. And that's our explanation is, well, yeah, this is a reliable, durable, powerful machine that will get exactly the same results as that machine. But at the end of the day, that detailer has the ability to actually buy two of those machines for him and another person, and then they can get the car done
Yeah.
quicker, or
have a backup.
have a backup, and
Yeah.
and they don't have to rely on that one machine. And I say the goal of this is, I think back to my first Rupes polisher, and it was the first change because I was always a rotary guy. And then when the Rupes came out in 2013, I bought the first 21, and we used it, and I did 4,000 cars with that machine. And before I went to before, I think, our first breakdown or something, but I documented 4,000 cars. And the point was, that machine in that time period and what it allowed my business to do and what it allowed us to buy, it allowed my guys to buy houses, my employees to be able to purchase homes, to be able to uh, buy a new car, be able to pay for dance lessons for their daughters, or their, baseball or after school programs. It allowed them to be able to do a lot. And I looked at that machine and I was like, it was $400 when I bought it, but it provided much more in terms of what it could do for my business. And I look at our machine as that same point, where detailers are coming into the market every day, new detailers. They don't have a lot of money to be able to invest in something like that. But what they do have is they can get into that machine, and that machine can do the exact same thing for them. It can buy a house, it can buy cars, it can support the business, it can support a family, it can support, that machine can do so much good for them. And we have the ability to step up. Maybe they want to go into a pro series, or heck, if they want to spend the money later on and buy a Flex or a Rupes, they're more than welcome to. But I want to get them in the door, and I want to make it accessible to every single person, whether they are a DIYer to a professional. And the same with our lineup, right? We've got a ton of consumables. We've got pads, we've got our compounds, our polishes, our chemicals, our towels. They're all designed under that same project of that honest price movement, where the
It's an
products
ideology
are
which we
designed
follow.
to be accessible
Exactly.
to everybody.
Yeah.
You don't need to spend $30 for a bottle of soap.
Yeah,
You
and
don't
that's
need
the
to
case.
spend.
I always see these people hunting for the next best item, as you said before with the wax. Or let's imagine the people who are watching 2 hours of YouTube videos each day, checking what's the best, latest crazy stuff around, whether it's graphene or it's
Yep.
the $150 polisher, it's the pads for $35. I don't get the point. So you're spending time watching a YouTuber who is probably paid for advertising you the latest shit you don't ever need. So
Yeah.
you basically just need to ask yourself, what is possible in order to finance the dance lessons of my daughter, to care for the loan I got to pay off, for the margin I got on my house. So all these things you need to pay for. And it just comes down to the single question: what do I want to achieve with my business? Do I want to be loved by people by owning the best stuff, or do I want to be loved by my customers for providing the best results, and be loved by my family for providing a sufficient outcome from my business because I did something right on this side? And I would always go with option two, because this is my main strive. I always hunt for this: can we make this better, or can we make this cheaper, or can we combine them both? So this is just these things of, when we're producing pads, when we're making glass cleaner, I cannot imagine how people can buy $20 glass cleaners. So it's it's not 10 times better than the one for $5, let's say.
Yeah.
And this is always the question you need to ask yourself. Can you improve your results by 5% by investing 500 times more effort in it? Yeah, probably. But is it worth that? So nobody's going to pay you for that. So just imagine that. I had a discussion with the German detailer who is running only the famous highest priced possible products, and he's investing. I guess it was $850 a month with a two-person's business for his consumables. I was
Yeah.
like, bro, that's fucking much. So I was just checking. Okay, you got the glass cleaner, you got the ceramic coating, you got the pads, you got the polishers, you got the polish, you got your towels. What is the crazy stuff I cannot see? And he's like, yeah, but this is cost me $850 each month. So I was like, okay, don't get me wrong. This is 10K a year just on consumables and things you use, your tools. For two people's business, yeah, that's correct. I was like, okay, just give me 15 minutes to calculate this. When you just, I will not pretend that we are providing the best feasible tools for that, but just made the equation based on the prices I can provide him for our tools. I was like, dude, when you have the same consumables for our items, you will pay $300. So it's like 35% of what you're actually paying, which means you have 6.5 grand each year for your family, for your next vacation, for put it away for 20 years and pay for your house or whatever. So I don't get the point. And what took you there? Yeah, what took me there is like I had some Reddit reviews. I was on YouTube. I was on Instagram, always checking for the latest stuff. I was like, combine all these hours and let's pretend it's 10 hours a week. What can you achieve in 10 hours a week? This is probably a full working day plus.
Yeah.
Are you serious? This doesn't make any sense. And after this kind of back and forth chatting for probably 45 minutes, he was like, somehow I cannot justify any longer to go on like I did now that you're talking to me this way. So it feels rude somehow because you're offending my system in a way that I'm not used to, but it makes sense. So where do we go now? I was like, it's not my decision. I just wanted to provide you a perspective in order to be more efficient.
Yeah. And I did that. That was me. You know, I had a detail shop and I came from a detail shop that I managed for 10 years. And then I opened my own detail shop. And I used the same products that I used that for 10 years in the new shop. And that first year or so, I noticed that increase in chemicals and consumables. And I was like, this just isn't working. I was at $2,000 a month in consumables. And I remember thinking like, it's got to be a better way. It's got to be a better solution. And that was when I started learning and educating myself and figuring out exactly what could work, what couldn't work in a far greater sense than I ever did in the previous 10 years. Right. And once I got to that, I remember dropping my chemical costs from $2,000 a month, and this is when I was doing about 130 cars a month out of my shop. So that's why my chemical cost was so high. But I got it down to $850 a month, which was a significant savings for the company to where we were like, oh my gosh, like we're saving 12 grand a year now just from switching products to more efficient products, more higher use case stuff, so we could use them in different situations. We could use this for this and this for that, and combining products. So I didn't have 20 products; I had 10 products, right, doing all the same jobs and things. And so that was the biggest push. And then that pretty much became who I was at that point for teaching efficiency, showing people how to do it quicker, how to be better, how to create your standard operating procedures, trying to be the best detailer you could be for your customers and be able to utilize that. And then I took that into that next step. So it's always been a part of like, I never understood the aspect of I need the best. It's fun. Hey man, someone wants to send me a box of Crystal Rock. Hey, cool. I'll put it on my shelf.
Yeah, feel free.
I'm not going to pay for it. Yeah. But it's that like, yeah, everybody likes that, but there's not always the need for it. And to live and die by this we just have to spend it. Like, all right, that's to each what they want. But if I can provide, and you, like you say, we as a company can provide better solutions, better choices for customers, and still solve all of their questions, concerns, problems, issues. That's the goal of Liquid Elements, is to be able to fix that, which is why we use that
Absolutely.
efficiency by design. It goes into everything that we do as a company.
Absolutely. So I'm not arguing with people that we are 100% the best quality in every aspect, but I always tell them we are maybe just a 90% solution. But
Yeah.
as I said before, it's like, how much do you need to pay in addition in research, in paying it directly to buy the items for the last 10%? So
Yeah.
there may be, when you buy for example, our polish, most of the people sell polish for in kilograms.
Right.
But polish usually has a density of 1.3, which means when you sell a kilogram, you only get 0.7 liters. We sell a liter of polish, so you have
More
30 to
polish.
40% more in the same bottle. So imagine that you buy a polish from us for $30 a liter, and then you compare this with a kilogram of polish, which costs 65, which is, I know some polishes in the US, which are quite common, got this price. So you get 35% less for 2 times the price.
Right. Yeah.
How much better could this be? So
Yeah.
does it give you less cut? Does it cost you more time? I don't see the point. Just make a simple test. Check them side by side and tell me what you want. So
Yeah.
I don't want to force anybody to buy our products. I just want to encourage you, make the check. So just test it, just check it out. Believe in the solution, believe in the system, because the system provides you so much value. It's not just about our polishers, which are very, very high, frequently requested these days, but it's also the liquids. It's just the full solution you can trust in. And yeah, believe me, for sure, there may be a glass cleaner which is 10% better than ours, but 5 times the price. So
Yeah.
why should this be worth it? And I always be like, when people are asking me like, oh, Sebastian, your polisher, I took it apart and it made a grinding noise. So I put some other grease into it and paid $40 for this crazy kind of lithium iron graphene reinforced 24K grease and diamond infused. And now it's quiet. And I was like, yeah, okay, you can probably do this, but do you know why this makes this grinding noise? It's meant to be. Because do you know how I make your engine quiet? I just put cement into it. So
Yeah.
then it's quiet, you know.
Yeah, that doesn't
It's
work.
like the mechanics need to work against what you put in there. So he was like, oh, there are only 5 grams of grease in it. I put 20 grams inside this and made this thing completely full. And I was like, yeah, but the mechanical force you need is 2 times higher now. So you're blocking your polisher to work because it's not able to spin anymore. It's like, oh, I never saw this from this perspective, because
A lot of
there are
people
so
don't.
many. Yeah, but there are so many YouTubers pretending that the silent machine is running better, more efficient, has more performance, and is more healthy to operate. That's
Yeah.
not the case. That's just a
No.
lie. They don't
Yeah, and
know.
it's the
So
same thing.
one
A
just
lot of
told, the
people,
others adopt, and everybody is, yeah, make the new grease
let's
into
do
this
it.
polisher and pay $30 for the fucking
Yeah.
best grease you can get.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Like, there are people that, I did a lot of off-roading, and so when I had my Jeep, uh, I would read articles, and some people would say, "Oh, I put this fluid in my differential."
In the differential, yeah,
Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
because it runs cooler, and other
Yeah.
people are like, "But that's not designed for that. That's not. Why would you do that?" Like, that's why the weight of that fluid is the way it is for hot and cold situations, so it can change the viscosity. But you just completely put some different oil in that isn't for what that is. They're putting like motor oil or something in, and so many people would end up doing that, and then you'd see that person a week later that had broke their axle, while they were trying to crawl somewhere because it overheated, because wasn't able to withstand the heat that was generated, or it worked too hard because it was, like you say, you're increasing the amount of force that now those gears have to bind into, when before they
Exactly. Yeah.
ran very smooth. Even though maybe they made a noise, they ran smooth, where now they don't run smooth, and they caused a binding and breakage. But yeah, so many people seem to think that that's, it just will add some grease and it'll make it better.
Yeah, I
And
used to have a back and forth argument with one guy 2 years ago exactly about this kind of, why is our polisher making that kind of noise, and there was the guy who eliminated this kind of noise, and I was like, okay, probably as he saw this on YouTube that you should probably modify LE machines. There was a guy modifying a T4200 exactly this way. Took the grease out, put the new grease in. It was, yeah, now it's quiet. I can show you. This is the proof. And I was like, okay, better next time I skip the engineering, I skip all what I've learned, and I better watch the YouTube channel about how to design a proper polisher.
yeah,
And then he was suddenly laughing, like, okay, you should have. But I was like, yeah, but why is there any kind of engineering necessary when there are so many people already doing it right
yeah,
in your perspective? But yeah,
correct.
they're just not observing all the aspects. So there are so many aspects people not thinking about, because it's pleasing your senses because it's more silent, but they don't imagine the mechanical forces which have to come up to work against this silence. So it's like when you rub in a surface, yeah, when you have that noise, when I put something in between, a cushion or something, yeah, it's making no noise, but it's harder to work against. So I need to incorporate more force into it, but this is an aspect I didn't took into my equation. So I did not sense that, and this is why I just tell people, don't listen to fucking YouTube.
Yeah.
Stop that.
Yeah, it's unless they're watching this on YouTube, and then
yeah, probably,
then they
or
learn from
something
the
else.
people. Yeah,
Feel
don't listen
entertained,
to somebody else.
or just check what is the background of the people. Seriously, just check. Is this a marketing guy? Is this an engineer? Does he have some kind of serious reputation in what he did the past 20 years? And I mean, not like I have 5 college degrees and 10 whatevers. It's like, do I trust this person? Because he already made his point in his industry. Is this a feasible outcome he can provide me? Is he after his own, let's say, income, or does he want to provide me a certain kind of value and maybe have a passive benefit on this? Just ask yourself these simple questions.
Yeah, super cool. So tell me about, you guys have the location in Ennepetal, which is our blending house. That's where you make all the chemicals and all of that. How did you go about doing that? Start with that one, with the chemistry. Now you're pretty much automated. You're pretty much fully automated. But when the very first thing of like trying to put stuff together, right?
I had a Makita battery power drill and a 25-liter bucket in front of me.
There we go.
So this is where it all started. Yeah. It was simply driven by passion, and as maybe some of you know, I'm a physicist, and so I also love to learn all the chemical stuff, and I'm just obsessed with technical things and how this kind of alchemist things interact with each other. And yeah, it just obsessed me, and I tried to push it to the next level, but basically the outcome was just a good kind of chemical. So there's no rocket science into it. Besides the Insider, is a product I'm really, really proud of, and it's so exceptional. I developed this because of my daughter Leah. As I experienced, most of the interior cleaners you can buy these days just have at least 3 safety hazardous symbols on the backside telling you, don't spray into closed areas, do not inhale the fumes, and every kind of shit you can just probably die from. So after checking the safety data sheet, I was like, wow, this is some kind of serious paradox shit, because you cannot use it for this particular use case. And fun fact, the most interior fragrances are located in the same direction. They're not safe to use in car interiors. Either they're meant to be. So this is where we started this out of necessity. So after we just hit this mixing bucket, I was like, okay, how is the next evolvement stage? And then there came the larger bucket. So it was 200 liters, and then it was 1,000 liters, and then it was a full facility. And then I just wrapped my head around how can we be more efficient with these few people we have. And we had customers, tons of them, requesting more and more items, and we were not able to keep up. So this was 2017 where we built the first full automated line. And these days, most of the people were just like standing there and screwing bottles by hand. And we were one of the first in this small area. So we are not Kronbacher, Veltins, or whatever brewery making millions of bottles a day. But in this chemical industry, we were one of the first having our own fully automated bottling line. And I know some of the people still these days just screw these by hand because they're just getting large totes from a contract manufacturer probably, and then just filling their bottles. But we wanted from day one the maximum possible automation we can afford, because it always costs you something, and it also takes you some, let's say, brain investment into this, because we built this all from scratch. So we built our full site. We built it, we raised up the walls, we made the electricity, we made the flooring, we built the machines, we make the receipts, the formulations, everything on our own in order to keep the full control on the supply chain, quality-wise and on the price side. And this is the main reason. And when people come to our main plant, some of them are asking, what are these colorful buckets over there? It's just the powder. It's the stone powder we make our dyes from. So even the colors are just hand blended on site. The fragrances are hand blended on site, incorporated to the formulation. So we just start with the dye powder. It is so minimal, where most of the people are like, just ship me the 1,000-liter tote and I just fill it in my bottles and put a graphene label on it, and everybody buys this for $40.
Right. Yeah.
This is just where this basically started and get through. And these days we have a fully operational robotic multi-step line, and things are really serious. So I'm just proud where this went, and I'm more than happy and appreciate the customers who had gone through these phases and just supported us. And this is why I always think you need to give something back. And these are two things. The one is just a huge shout out and thanks for the loyalty you give us over the past years. And the second thing is just we provide you the best prices with the best quality possible we could probably give you, continuously combined with the best service and a full solution.
And that's exactly what, that's what I loved, is like we were very symbiotic in the belief structure of how a business it needs to be ran, how the company, what you guys told me of your company philosophy was something that I could adopt very easily because I felt so passionately about it. And it's able to be that place where every detailer all over the world has that same issue, has the same problem, and we are able to provide those solutions for them at any stage in the game, whether they're just starting out or whether they've been with them and been with the company for years, right? Or they've been in an industry for years. There's this opportunity to be that solution to the problem that they might have.
And this is the very perspective I want to jump in, because it's just about the main things we are asking for is not high prices. We are asking for trust. So I just hope that the people believe in this honest price movement we try to initiate and want people to hop on, not because we are providing better items, not because we have the smarter team. It's just because we want to provide the detailers more value, to leave them more money into their pocket, into this end equation they make. And this is so everybody should feel invited, not by, I just slapped on the LE polish because I don't believe it is any good. I just slapped on the LE pads because I don't believe they're any good. I did only take the machines because most of the people on YouTube telling these are great machines. Don't do this. Don't judge it by YouTube. make your own impressions. And this is the trust we want to provide, or we asking for, because we provide you this kind of honesty and transparency in our structure, in our pricing, and we hope to get your repulse and trust that you just believe in what we're doing. So
Yeah.
the detailer should not be the tinkerer. He shouldn't be the engineer. He should be the guy who is working on the customer's car in order to make his money. And we do our job on our side, providing him the best solution possible to make it feasible work.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's the whole goal of the whole brand. That's everything that we're doing, is to choose it for yourself, try our stuff, and know that we're here for you, right? We're here to help you. We're here to be there for you, but we're also here to educate. We're also here to answer those questions or problems. So the best part about this podcast is we're going to be doing this weekly. We'll probably get Sebastian on as often as we can, hopefully once a month, if not more. We'll have Brian in here. Our goal is to start interviewing other folks. We want to get other detailers. We want to get other folks in here, other maybe distributors or users of the products. But the goal is we want to be there to answer your questions. So please, if you guys have questions for us that you want us to answer, leave them in the comments below, wherever the podcast is hosted. We're going to be hosting this on Spotify, and it will go out to all the different channels after that. We're going to be reposting this on our YouTube channel, so feel free to leave us comments in there, and we will make sure we throw those up and add those questions in for folks as well. And then also make sure you can follow us, make sure you download, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff that we have. And Sebastian, dude, thank you for being a part of this first one. And I know it's a big thing for a lot of people to listen. They just love hearing it from the man himself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I get a few last sentences to this, because we just started this, and I hope for people's appreciation in this way, just by, please don't feel forced to buy any kind of product. So we as a company, I am as a person, and Levi as well, we don't want to sell you a product. That is not the case. So please don't feel bothered to buy any kind of product. We are more than happy when we can provide you any kind of solution. And the solution could be that we just encourage you to a different kind of perspective. The solution could be that you understood the system. The solution could be that you think about the honest price movement, and maybe you hop on in whatever way you want it. But please don't feel pushed towards some certain kind of product. This is not a product advertisement channel. It is just about making things clear, building a bridge, and hopefully sooner or later you can better understand the background of this industry, because I know there are some shady things going around, and I hope we can just lift the curtain a little and clear things up. And this is why we are also open for questions. So and until you're not asking for the particular formulation of something, feel free to ask any kind of question beside that. So whether it's calculations or shipping or service or shelf life or whatever, it doesn't matter. Just blast us your questions, and we feel more than welcome to do so.
Yeah, we want to answer everything. The goal of this podcast is education. That's what we've done. Brian and I have been educators in the detailing industry for the last 30 years. Sebastian's got a wealth of knowledge for the last 30 years. So the goal is that we want to be there to help educate in whatever you need, whether, like we said, you're just starting out or you've been in this industry as long as we have. I learn something every time I go to an event or I meet somebody, because there's always something new to learn or test or use or see. And that's the fun part about this, is we love finding out different things about all of us and everybody that's listening. So like Sebastian said, our goal isn't to sell here. Our goal is to educate. And thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the Detail Elements podcast. Thank you, Sebastian, for joining us.
Thank you as well. See you next time.
See ya.